What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 7 Millionaire Maker.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay guys, this is for the Millionaire Maker slate, which is the Sunday main slate at 1 p.m. Oh, and stick around to the very end of this video. After I show you all my picks in the Draft Dashboard tools, I'll show you these players in DraftKings and in FanDuel, the Millionaire Maker slates. There'll be 2 spots open that you have to fill in, but you'll have a great Millionaire Maker core. Okay guys, NFL Week 7. Let's take a look at the quarterback position. So my Millionaire Maker quarterback for Week 7 is Justin Herbert from the LA Chargers, playing the Seattle Seahawks, who have the 3rd worst defense overall. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Justin Herbert has averaged 18.9 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 3 rush attempts per game. He's going to be about 9% owned, projected at 21.4 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary, $900 more on FanDuel. And I like this pick because Vegas thinks there's going to be 51 points scored in this game, with the Chargers favored by 6.5. Now, Justin Herbert, he struggled last week. He scored 9, 14, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games, up a 2, 5, and 4 rush attempts. So I like that this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's a great matchup. So I like Justin Herbert here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. My Millionaire Maker running back is Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys, playing the Detroit Lions, who have the absolute worst defense overall. They give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Ezekiel Elliott has averaged only 10 fantasy points per game on the season. Not having a great year, but he is getting pretty decent volume, averaging 15.7 rush attempts per game, 1.3 pass targets per game. Spent on the field for 63% of the snaps. Going to be about 13% owned, projected at 13.9 fantasy points here in Week 7. Only $6,000 DraftKings salary, $900 more on FanDuel. And Ezekiel Elliott has scored 16, 8, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games, off of 13, 22, and 19 rush attempts, on top of 1, 0, and 2 pass targets. So pretty good volume here over the past 3 weeks. He had a decent week last week, scoring 16 fantasy points. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 48 points scored in this game, with the Cowboys favored by 7. So Dak Prescott could be back in action here in Week 7. So that will help everyone on the team. This is just a great matchup. And Ezekiel Elliott, he's still underpriced. Now, his volume is creeping up. Only 14 touches last week, but 22 and 21 touches the 2 weeks before that. So he's getting plenty of volume. He's poised for a breakout game. So I like Ezekiel Elliott here versus the Detroit Lions.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, moving on to the wide receiver position. Now, last week I picked Jalen Waddle as my Millionaire Maker wide receiver, and some people didn't like that in the comments. They said, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe. Don't you know Tua Tagovailoa is out? The Miami Dolphins are going to be horrible the rest of the season. Well guys, this is a Millionaire Maker slate. So the idea here is to pick some guys that other people aren't going to be picking that can still have big upside. Jalen Waddle scored 21 fantasy points last week, super low ownership, and his price tag was down. So he turned out to be a fantastic Millionaire Maker wide receiver pick, so I'm sorry to that guy who unsubscribed. Let's see if we can do it again this week. So at the wide receiver position, my Millionaire Maker wide receiver is Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns, playing the Baltimore Ravens, who have the 9th worst defense overall, give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Amari Cooper has averaged 16 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 9.2 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 83% of the snaps, only going to be about 9% owned. And I say only because I think this guy should have double-digit ownership. I think his ownership should be over 20%. He's in a fantastic spot here, projected at 13.5 fantasy points here in week 7. But he's only 6,100 DraftKings salary, 1,100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, with the Browns trailing by 6.5. Now, Amari Cooper has scored 14, 21, and 2 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 12, 12, and 4 pass targets. So I love that he's gotten 24 touches in the past 2 weeks. So tons of volume. Now he's got a fantastic matchup and a good game script here. If the Browns fall behind, they need to throw some extra passes. So I like Amari Cooper here versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the tight end position, my Millionaire Maker tight end is Kyle Pitts from the Atlanta Falcons, playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing tight ends. Kyle Pitts has averaged 7.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 5 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 10% owned, projected at 10.1 fantasy points here in week 7. He's 4,300 DraftKings salary, 1,600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game, with the Falcons trailing by 6. So Kyle Pitts was out for a week. He came back last week, scored 11 fantasy points off of 3 pass targets. I do expect his volume to return to his season average or better, so I expect him to get 5 to 8 pass targets here in this game. It's a decent matchup. Could be a pretty good game script if the Atlanta Falcons fall behind the Bengals, which I think they will. So I like Kyle Pitts here versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. You've unlocked the bonus content.
Okay guys, here we are in the DraftKings lineup optimizer. Over here on Draft Dashboard, we have our Millionaire Maker core locked in here. We've generated a lineup, so let's see who we got. We got Justin Herbert, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, Alan Lazard, DK Metcalf, Alec Pierce, Kyle Pitts, Amari Cooper, and the Jets defense. So I love this lineup. You may be asking, who is Alec Pierce? Well, he scored 9 to 16 fantasy points in the last 4 games. He was on the field for 65% of the snaps last game. Then he's only 4,600 DraftKings salary here. He's got a great matchup here versus the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to save some salary with Alec Pierce so we can fit all these studs in. Almost all these other players are studs. I love this lineup. I'm going to save it so I can optimize it later if anything changes. Okay, now here we are in the FanDuel lineup optimizer. Over here on Draft Dashboard, we have our Millionaire Maker core locked in. We've generated a lineup. So let's see who we got. We got Justin Herbert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Pitts, Mike Williams, and the Buccaneers defense. So I like this lineup. Let's see who else we could play. If we didn't want to play Brandon Ayuk, we could play a guy like Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, Michael Gallup, but actually I'm going to keep in Brandon Ayuk. He scored 24 fantasy points last week. Now let's see if we can upgrade Jeff Wilson Jr. Let's see who we got here. Anybody of interest? We could go with James Robinson. He hasn't really been doing that well though, so let's see if we can upgrade. Let's see what we got here. Who do we have? We just need a little bit more money for Aaron Jones. So let's see if we can save 300 on our defense. We can come down to the Packers defense here. Here we go. Okay, so we got Justin Herbert, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Pitts, Mike Williams in the Packers defense. I like this lineup a lot better, so I'm going to save this lineup so we can optimize it later if anything changes. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.